Before we delve into an embarrassment of a game, I want to say I'm sending all the best wishes, thoughts, and prayers and vibes to Harmon. Stuff got scary there for a little bit yesterday, and I think first and foremost, everyone can agree, regardless of what team you're on, you want the players safe from beginning to end. That all said, where do we even start? First, I do want to apologize for everybody for a lack of a pre-game video prediction. I had a lot of difficulties with some programming and recording and uploading my video to YouTube this go around. There was a lot of skipping, there was a lot of screen cuts, and I tried multiple times. It just didn't work out. So instead, I did my prediction on Twitter if you want to go see that for what it's worth for it, because it did not turn out what we thought. Just like everybody, as I said, though, I was off on what actually happened on the field yesterday because OU this week has just not had a good week. We've been taking a lot of L's going from last week to now, and we just got another one with this complete smackdown we received from TCU. Congrats and props to TCU for doing it, though. They released a lot of inner demons that they have been wanting to release on us for some time now, and they definitely did it with a giant can of whoop ass on us. I seriously cannot recall an OU team in recent memory that looked like that they didn't study for a test and got caught with a big fat F just a couple days later. TCU just played out of their minds, but that's TCU. We got to talk about us. We have a lot to go over because, I mean, let's be honest. We all experienced John Blake in the 90s experience yesterday. I mean, we're back in the 90s now, right? So why not? Hocus Pocus is back. We have a baseball playing going for the home run record, and we got Happy Meals back. But concerning football, that also means we went through multiple quarterbacks in a game. Players were playing down to our expectations of them, especially where they're playing at. The team in general just looked lost. And of course, we took a big fat L. I mean, there's nothing to sugarcoat with this game, guys. The opposite of the Nebraska game, this game absolutely stunk in every facet of the game. You can use any word you want, you can use any phrase. The end of the day, we were exposed. We saw the cupboard is much better than we thought, and we're just not in a good position right now. But I mean, you have to really delve down to it. Who do you blame? I mean, the sad truth is a lot of this, about 90%, is on the players. Remember when Mike would put players in positions to make them fail and then blame said players for not executing? Well, Mike was wrong in his instances for it. This go around, it's not that far off. Players are just not mentally there at the moment. So, I mean, looking at coaches, a vast majority of this is on the players, but 10% is on them right now. Levy has to figure something out. This up tempo and asking players to do something they cannot do, such as with Dylan with the long ball. It's just not working. I'm not understanding as well why we are sticking with a three-man front when it is not working, and it's pretty obvious we need to do something for just something. End day is the conundrum is you face right now is, do you continue with the system you have to prep for the guys that are coming in, or do you simplify it to salvage the season? Because yes, if it's not obvious enough, we are in salvage mode to try to even get to 6-6 at this point. Um, I think it's a bit of both. You do need to simplify it, but at the same time, it's on the players, especially the upperclassmen, to be building on the fundamentals and the framework that they have learned. No different than any class you've ever taken in school. Again, using Dylan as the example, Dylan has to make those throws and stop chucking and praying. His execution of that is not on the coaches. It's on him to get the ball to the receiver and the receiver to catch the ball. Defense has to make tackles. Again, that is mental and them not following through on their execution, especially on blown assignments. That's not on the coaches at that point. That's the coaches, though. I really do believe a lot of this is on the players, guys, because look, let's just be honest. We are riding and dying with Dylan Gabriel, but I stand by the fact that he is great value Landry Jones. He is our guy, whether people like it or not. He is our guy, but he's not the guy who's going to lead us to a natty, let alone maybe even a Big 12 championship, because he's just not very good. RG3 even was going, bro, your fundamentals and mechanics are just awful. You are just so erratic all over the place. But that being said, guys, there is literally nobody behind him. You saw the results of that with Bevel. He is the guy. But again, he's not free from criticism. He can't throw the deep ball I'm convinced at this point the short ball. I'm convinced he can't throw the ball in general with it. It's just he's playing at asking to be played at an elite level that he is just not capable of or has not shown. At this point, he's a junior. This is unacceptable. I know you have to open up the QB competition next year, and it's probably the worst since we've had under Heupel, like before that. But he's got to do something. Something has to change, whether it's coaching, whether it's making a system that's a little bit more to him. Something has to change from it. Speaking of the offense as well, receivers, look, they gotta catch the balls. Like even with Dylan Gabriel overthrowing them, the stuff that's right there, like a couple of them yesterday, you gotta catch them. Like there is no option. You gotta go through drills or something. Gotta get that home. Again, the flip side is I also don't know about how I feel about the O line. They're very inconsistent and not giving Dylan any help either. So how much can I put on Dylan? I mean, one thing for sure to me, Matauer is bad and he really needs to be benched as well. But again, who's behind him? I think we're kind of to at this point, and it's probably saying it, and maybe I'm going overboard, but I do think you have to start really considering, is Bill Bedenbaugh's seat really hot, and how much more does he have at this program? The O line has just been regressing, and it looks even somewhat bad right now. I think he has till the end of next year, and then you have to seriously weigh your options at that point. But the thing is, the offense is still minimal because they're still scoring some type of points. The defense is another matter entirely. In my opinion, Oklahoma has a defense is now become the Texas is back meme. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. The baseball cut in they were showing had more defense than anybody on the team yesterday. And I keep asking myself, are they really just this bad? And were we just masking it with world beater offenses? Or was it just always this bad and it's just even gotten worse and worse? I mean, let's face it, guys, defense is regressing. It seems like when they start getting away from the very basics or begin playing teams with a pulse, it all starts to snowball. Broyles and David need to be benched. Like, they are not helping the team and they are only hurting the team. Players also cannot tackle. It looks like every time we face teams with a pulse, it looks like we're trying to tackle people with Teflon on them. They're just not sticking to their tackling. Players are also not, let's be honest, they're not putting forth the effort. We can say all we want about the system, we can all say about the expectations. Some of it is on Venables, sure, that his schemes are complicated to learn, and to make them work, you have to put forth the effort. Where does that effort come from? It comes from the players. And it's pretty obvious the players are not learning it as they are embarrassing themselves on the field. And it's even worse when you consider many of them are upperclassmen and that they are just not getting it. Which is this a holdover from the previous regime? Do they not like being told what they were taught was wrong? Who knows? Maybe I'm being paranoid. But the worry is that is due to the staff's intensity. Maybe they've lost some of those players in the locker room already, and it's already going to be a very, very long season, let alone not just on the defense, but on the offensive side of the ball. But to be fair, there is holdover from the previous regime. Bad habits don't end overnight. I guess for me, I'm just more confused of why we're not trying out other guys at this point. Do they just not learn the system? Are they just so green that it'd be having someone incapable or incompetent at the position better than someone who's green at this point? I just don't know as well how you don't convince them that if you want to get better, you got to get good. I think both of those aside, I think you just have to accept these right now. So accepting this, putting on our seatbelts, and accepting this going forward is going to make the season a lot more bearable. Whether y'all like it or not, this is a very bad team and nowhere near what they were in the non conference or even what they were trying to sell us during preseason. We are going to lose multiple games this season, and we might even hit 3 games in a row loss, something we have not seen since 1998. We're in worst case scenario right now, especially when the injuries start piling up and we're not going to even have the full team fielded on the field. This is why we also don't usually believe preseason hype because this team is much further behind than anyone predicted or had expectations of. We're just hoping that they go 6-6 at this point because we are potentially staring anywhere from a 3-9 to a 5-7 season. I think Iowa State, West Virginia, and potentially Kansas will get us there, but Kansas is going to be that big game of we got to overcome them. At least we got them at home, right? And if it was not clear enough, any run for a hope for a playoff, let alone a big championship, Big 12 championship, that's gone. Like, just let that go now, guys. Another thing is we are going to get foot stomped by Texas next weekend, barring any type of Red River shenanigans. Texas is going to beat us. It's going to be probably a blowout. Just accept it now. Throw your trash talk in, but no, we're going to lose. And then finally, they are going to drop out of the top 25 probably for the foreseeable future. I wouldn't be surprised if they even crack the top 25 until the next season at this point. That all said, if we taper our expectations and embrace what we truly are at this point in rebuilding and a down year, it's going to be less disappointing through each game. Because let's face it, at the end of the day, guys, this was a tough game. Anybody who did any type of analysis knew going into this game, TCU was going to be tough. A lot of our guys got banged up, and as a result, the season is also spiraling with similarities almost to the Schnelly year, minus the crazy head coach. But for me personally, what I think disappoints me the most is that they look like they didn't care on the field. They just didn't give two thoughts about it. End of the day, guys, no matter what, I'm here. I've dealt with losses before. It's not going to be the last one either, including attending some of the worst ones in recent memory, like that Baylor one. Rush 3, drop 8, throw short passes, whatever, however you want to put it. I'm invested, but it's also important to remember it's not the end all be all. That's good for mental health, guys, because at the end of the day, you have to embrace other hobbies and stuff as well. Because if this is ruining your weekend, it's not going to make anything easier. But that said, it's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of patience. I know everybody's frustrated, especially seeing what's happening over at USC and seeing how much we lost. Remember, it took Brent a couple years before they were at their elite world beater defenses to get into the playoff and win national championships. It also took, remember, keep in mind, guys, Nick Saban, Bob, they all went like 7-5 in their first years. I know people don't want to hear that, and it's totally moving the goalposts to justify the on the field performance, but there is a lot of truth to it. The crazy part, though, if you think about it, we have much better talent than Bob did in his first year, hence my frustrations. You can't win them all, but we have expectations of them not to quit and look unprepared and at least go down fighting. Again, this is a work in progress. Growing pains were expected, just probably not to this extent. But at the same time, my eyes don't lie, and I see what's happening on the field. And I would be lying if I didn't say I am worried about the Boo Birds out against Kansas. Because the monster is hungry for a natty, and as we are still in the longest drought between natties, and obviously with this year another bust, it's only going to get angrier and angrier. One thing's for sure, and I do want to mention this, but as I wrap up, I know plenty of people disagree with me. I'm really worried, and I'm leaning very heavily towards that this team has hit their ceiling, and I want to be proven wrong. Prove me wrong, guys. Prove me wrong on it. That we can at least go 7-5 for it. But end of the day, we're at a crossroads. Players are having their coming to Jesus moment. Are they going to roll over and coming Jesus moment? Jesus take the wheel moment. Are they going to roll over and just take 9 more or any more from like a couple more L's? Or at minimum, at least go down fighting, losing. So it's not a bust. And hey, you're still showing like you're in it for the game. That all being said, if there's one positive I can take from this, I'm really glad that I bypassed getting an away ticket to go to this game. I was seriously considering it, but it just wasn't in the cards as I was working on quarterly reports and other important stuff came up as well. So hey, positive for me in my bank account. So that's all I got, guys. Comment, rate, subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell so you know when we go live or when I upload a video. Tonight, guys, we have group therapy session number 2, and I think it's even more important that we have this one probably than last week's. We're probably also going to have even more going forward as we are going to recap the TCU game as we look forward to Texas this coming weekend. Buckle your seatbelts, boys and girls. We are in it for the long haul. So no matter what, in the day still, we ride with this team and we're all crimson and cream. So Boomer Sooner, there's only one, and I'll see everybody tonight.